Hey fans, what up? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Tzadi Ches, Daf 98 of Masechet Ksubis, friends. Well, let me tell you, we're doing more Viter stuff on Almanas and Ksubis and stuff like that. But yeah, there shouldn't, I suspect this Daf shouldn't take too long because I don't think there's really all that much to do. Friends, we're going to start in Daf Tzadi Ches, Amud Aleph, about 4 lines before it gets wide, or 5 lines at the Mishnah. Almana Shoyse Ksubaso Masayim. So if you have an Almana, a widow, her ksuba was 200 zuz. Umachra shvei moneh b'masayim. And what she did was she sold property for her ksuba, but she sold property that was really only worth 100 mana for 200 mana. Right? She sold. Right? Umachra shvei mana. What did I just do? Right? Umachra shvei moneh b'masayim. Right? Land that was worth 100, she managed to get 200 for it. O shvei masayim b'mana or punkt fakert. She sold property worth 200 zuz. She only sold it for 100 zuz and only got half of what she was meant to get. Niskabel ksubasa. In either case, she received her ksuba. Whether she sold property worth 100 zuz for 200 zuz, well, she received 200 zuz. Or if she sold property worth 200 zuz for 100 zuz, well, she sold property worth 200 zuz. She can't sell anymore. If her ksuba was 100 zuz, umachra shvei mana v'dinar b'mana. Her ksuba was 100 zuz, and she sold 100. Meaning even 100 zuz and a dinar, which I think might be. I don't know. It's possible that a dinar is probably a dinar. I don't know. Is the point? I don't know. Is the point? Wait, what? Is this like 101 zuz, or is this like 100 zuz and like a 25th of a zuz? I'm not sure, but she basically sells a little bit more than 100, right? She's selling more than 100 zuz worth of stuff. Biman, and she sells it for 100 zuz, right? So meaning she's owed 100 zuz, so she can sell property worth 100 zuz and get 100 zuz, but she sells property worth more than 100 zuz for 100 zuz. Michra batal, the sale is null and void. Afilu he omeres achzu dinar liyorshin, even if she says that she'll return that dinar to the heirs. Michra batal, still the sale is null and void. No, the sale is a good sale. Until, so it's, I don't know, it's like a little bit confusing what this means, but like until either the amount that she overpaid is the value of, right, that the amount that she overpaid is enough property in a field that would be 9 kavs, or maybe if the field itself that was left over was 9 kavs. Uvegina bas chatzi kav, and if it's a garden, then it would be half of a kav. Uchdev Rabbi Akiva base rova, or according to Rabbi Akiva, it would be, I don't know what, a quarter of a kav or something, I guess. Alright. If her ksuba was 400 zuz, right, and she sold, right, ksuba was 400 zuz, and she sold 100 zuz worth of property to this person, to that person, to a third person, and to the fourth person, but to the fourth person, she she sold more than 100 zuz worth for 100. So the last one is batal, but the first 3 sales would be fine. Now the Gemara wants to know, when she sells property worth 200 zuz, but she only sells it for 100 zuz, so now she only got 100 zuz of cash for the property, but we say you can't sell any more because you sold 200 zuz worth. We say, look, you messed up, you made a mistake, you sold property worth 200 for 100, you have to swallow the loss. You have to absorb the loss. But shvei mana b'masayim, then why don't we all say punkt fakert, that if she manages, if she's very shrewd, she manages to sell property worth 100 zuz for 200 zuz and make a handsome profit, can't she say, look, I made this, I made a great deal. I made an extra 100 zuz. I should be entitled to sell another 100 zuz worth of land, and then that profit would go to me as well. Why do we say, no, you already received your 200 zuz, you're done, even though you only sold 100 zuz worth of property? So Rav Nachman Rav Bar Avua says, Rav Nachman Rav Bar Avua kan shona Rebbe hakol of alamos. That look, it all goes to the person whose money it is. Kedetanis, we learn in a brisa. Actually, let's stop there for a second. Meaning, if, right, let's say, I give somebody 100 shekels, and I say, go to Shuk Machne Yehuda and, buy me pizza. And pie pizza is 100 shekels. And somehow he manages to get a pie pizza. It turns out that it's half off that day. He gets a pie pizza for 50 shekels. So he can't say, look, I got you a better price, I'm taking the difference. No, if I sent him with 100 shekels, it turns out it's half off. Okay, thank you very much, but gewaldig, but I'm going to take back the 50 shekels. So here oichet, meaning she sold property worth 100 zuz for 200. So we say, okay, it's in the right. The property is the estates. We say, okay, thanks for getting us a great deal, but but we're going to keep the difference. Kedetanya, as we learn in a brayso, sifilo achas yisera, that if they added for him one extra, hakol l'shaliach. Tiv Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, look, if you manage to get one extra, so you can keep it. Rabbi Yossi omer cholkin. Rabbi Yossi says, no, they split it in half. Vatanya Rabbi Yossi omer hakol l'balamos. But doesn't Rabbi Yossi say that, no, it all the difference goes to the person whose money it is? So remember by Chama, it says, lo kasha, it's no problem. Kam b'dover sheish lo kitzba, kam b'dover shein lo kitzba. Depends if it's something that's a fixed amount or not. Today I went shopping, I went to buy lulav and esrog. So you go to buy lulav and esrog, and the esrogim are different values, so in that kind of a thing where things are kind of more fluid, so then, if I would send somebody with 500 shekels to buy an esrog, and, it turns out he was able to get the esrogim, this one's this amount, that one's that amount. So he comes back and he said, look, I got an esrog for 400 shekels. So, okay, thank you very much, and you give back the extra 100 shekels to the fellow who sent, to the sender. But what if it's something that you pay, I don't know, let's say a scoop of ice cream is 10 shekels, and a second scoop of ice cream is 20 shekels, right? It's another 10 shekels. Each scoop is 10 shekels. And, I send you to the ice cream store with 10 shekels, and you buy one scoop, and he gives you another scoop for free. So in that case, we split it in half, right? So when it's a fixed price and he gives you another one, so in that case, we split the gain in half, and the sender can get half, and the mission man gets half as well. So, right, so when Rabbi Yossi says that they split it, so that's when it's a fixed price thing. But when the money goes back to the sender, that is when it is a non-fixed price thing. Rav Papa says, Rav Papa ilchasa halacha is davar sheish lo kitzba, something that has a fixed price. Cholkin, they split the profit. Davar she'ein lo kitzba, but something that is variably priced. Hakol avalamos. So then, if there's a gain, it goes to the sender. My kamash malon. So what's the chiddush of Rav Papa? We already see that with Rabbi Yossi. So shinui d'shaninon shinuihu, that the way that we understood Rabbi Yossi about the fixed price versus the variable price is correct, and that's what Rav Papa is saying. That if it's a fixed price, they split the profit. If it's in a variable price, so then the extra goes to the sender. Ibarlu de asakasha amrle, that if a fellow says to his messenger, Zavin li liska, sell me a half a kor's worth of my property. But he sold twice as much. He sold a kor's worth of property. What do we say? Mosif advarvu veliska miyakoni. Do we say that? Do we say that? Okay, so he added on to what he was right. The messenger was supposed to sell half a kor, and he sold a whole kor. So do we say, look, he was a bit ambitious. He sold more than he was meant to, but at least the buyer should be able to retain, the half kor, right? Because after all, one whole kor contains within it a half kor, which is what he was supposed to be selling. So do we say that the buyer can at least keep the half kor? Or do we say, look, the messenger messed up, and just the whole thing is thrown out, and the buyer gets nothing. He has to give it back. So Amar Rav Yaakov Minar Pokud Mishmei Ravina Toshma. Come in here. Amar Balabai said, if the Balabai says the shlucho to his messenger, Teiloin Chaticha leOrchin, give one piece of I believe that it is. Wait 1 second. Yeah, and it's kodshim. It's kodshim, I believe. It's hektish. So the meat is hektish. So if the Balabai says to his messenger, give them one piece of this hektish meat, vu omer, and the messenger says tlu shtaim, everybody could take 2. V'hei notlu shalosh, but then they didn't listen. They each took 3. Kulan malu, all of them are over on meila. So now, omar. Right, we're getting benefit from hektish. So I understand if we consider it as if he's adding on to what the Balabais is saying. So that is why the Balabais is also over on meila. Right, the Balabais said that everybody should take this hektish meat, right, which he shouldn't be doing. And then, right, and if they do, then he'll be over on meila for giving them hektish and to benefit from hektish. The messenger, however, added to that and said 2. So he's just adding on. So the Balabais is doing something wrong. The messenger is adding on to that. But if you say that the messenger, by saying 2, he's actually, making what right, he's sort of throwing the instructions of the Balabais in the garbage. So Balabais am I moal. So then why is the Balabais over on Meila? Balabais moal. But we say that if the messenger is doing what the sender wanted him to do, I'm sorry, if the messenger did what he was supposed to do, so then the Balabais is over on Meila. But if he didn't do what he's supposed to do, so then the messenger is over on Meila. And if we're saying that by the messenger saying everybody should take 2, it basically throws the instructions of the Balabais in the garbage. Well, then why is the Balabais over on Meila? So it must be that he's adding on to what the Balabais is saying. Therefore, the Balabais is over on Meila, as is the Shaliach, Hochav Ma'eskinon. So we say not necessarily. It could be that it throws it in the garbage, but over here what we're saying is the Amrlu Tlu Achas Midaito Shal Balabais. Everybody take 1 from, which is the intention of the Balabais, that you should take it. V'achas Midaiti, and 1 from me. And then they all took 3, so everybody at each stage, right? So the Balabais' instructions were preserved, as well as the messenger, as well as each individual person. Friends, that was Daf Tzadi Ches of Masechta Ksubis. Today we talked about an interesting situation where a almana sells a mana's worth of property for 200, or 200 worth mana's worth, 200. I'm sorry, 100 zuz worth of property for 200, or 200 zuz worth of property for 100. We said in either case, she cannot, right? She's received her ksuba. We wanted to say, so then we asked that if she sells 100 zuz worth of property for 200, shouldn't she be able to keep the difference, right? And sell 200's worth and she'll profit. So we say that, well, that is, we say that the Balabais is the one, right? We said, what do we say? That, kol levalamos, that it goes to the person whose money it is, and therefore in this case the profit, the savings would go to the estate. And we made a chilik between if it's a fixed price thing or a variable price thing. If it's fixed price thing, then the profit is split between the sender and the messenger. If it's a variable thing, then it goes to the sender. Friends, that was Daf Tzadi Ches of Masechta Ksubis. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.